What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and I am here today to talk to you about the 3-2 loss to the Boston Charge. And, not happy. Again, I'm not gonna be like, oh, season's over, I saw some, and I'm not gonna overblow it like everybody's saying it, but I saw, whispers of people being like, oh, should they, consider firing the coach? And I don't think that's because of this season, because of last season and this season combined. You look at how last season ended. You look at this season, how it started. I mean, if you think about it, we lost the 3 final games in regulation, where a win in regulation would have got us in the playoffs. Lose all 3. And then we get a OT loss, a win, regulation loss, regulation loss. We have, let's see, so 3, the OT loss, the win, so 7 games between the end of last season and the start of this season. 1 win and 4 points of a possible 21. Now, again, that's last season, but it doesn't change the fact that this game felt like a same old story. Felt like again, similar to the game against Montreal that we played in the CTC. Close, tight. Either team could have won. We lost. The first game against Montreal, I actually didn't fell into that category. I thought that we got outplayed. We deserved to lose. And we were lucky we had a lead in the first place. Now, we did choke a lead, but I thought that we were lucky to have it in the first place. I thought that we stole a point from Montreal in the first game of the season. Then we beat Toronto, and I was like, okay, those first 2 games, that made me think, okay, that's the Ottawa Charger I wanted to see last season. A team that found ways to win close games, and a team that found ways to stay in games when they shouldn't be, rather than games that they have no business being in, they lose, handily so. And then games that are close, they find ways to lose it. Like overtime was just a kiss of death for us last season. And 1-goal games also were pretty much a kiss of death for us last season. And then we lose to Montreal in a close game that could have gone either way. They win 2-1 in regulation. And again, we play Boston in a close game. Could have gone either way, and we lose 3-2. I felt throughout most of the game it was pretty evenly matched. Either team could have won it. Guess which team didn't? Guess which team hasn't? I'm not going to hit the panic button, though. I'm not going to say fire the coach. But I am going to say that put it on your radar for the road trip. If we come out of the road trip and we are not at least within 3 points of a playoff spot, that's when I think, you know what, you seriously consider making a move. Making a move like that. Because, I mean, first off, we missed the playoffs last season. We were one of 2 teams. Look at New York. New York is great right now. New York is a very good team. I think they might be the best team in the league. I think between them and Minnesota, they are both good teams right now. And we are, again, it's early though. Look at how Toronto's season started last season. I said in a video that I thought Toronto might be the first bad team in the PWHL, and then they went on an 11-game heater. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a terrible road trip and then just come out of nowhere, win 10 in a row, handily make the playoffs. Who knows? But I do think that the context of last season does need to come into play. This is one of the 2 teams that missed the playoffs. New York's pretty much a lock right now. Unless something changes, I see New York and Minnesota as being 2 safe bets. A lot can change. But we don't want to be the safe bet to not make the playoffs, especially when we missed last season. Especially when, we're the best fans in the league, right? We are the fans. You know the worst thing that could happen if we are the first team to have a playoff drought? Miss the playoffs 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row? I mean, okay, honestly, if it gets to 5, then you fire everybody. I said the same thing about the Red Blacks, by the way. For those of you that didn't watch my CFL videos, I was very much in the, you got to make the playoffs this year. 2/3 of the league makes it. You cannot go 5 straight seasons without the playoffs. It is beyond inexcusable. And that's the thing. The odds of you missing the playoffs, on a pure mathematical standpoint, and honestly, the parity in this league it basically is 33% that you miss, 66 that you make it. You know? Okay, it's 66.6 repeating, 33.3 repeating with that. You know, I think the 7 is 6667, whatever. But, you know, it's pretty much square. It's not like there's one team where you're just like, oh, they're just so much better than everyone else. Or one team where you're like, oh, they're just so much worse than everybody else, that it kind of tips the scales. Every team is so close. Any team can win any given game. Like, we could go play the worst team in the league, get bodied, and then play the best team in the league and absolutely wipe the floor with them. In the PWHL, that has happened. We did that last season. We like faced a really good team. I think it was Toronto. Like, we'd end Toronto's 11-game winning streak, and then we would lose a game to New York. Like, any given game, any given team can win. So I do think that it's fair to say that it's about a 33% chance to miss the playoffs, 66 to make it. So the odds of you missing twice in a row is 1/3 of 1/3. And 3 times in a row, and 4 times in a row, and I think 4 times in a row, it's like 1%. Now, obviously, we aren't even close to that yet, but even twice in a row in this league, I think, if my math serves me correct, it's something like 11 or 12%. Like, now we're getting into the a bit more outrageous territory. It's not like completely awful, but at the same time, if you're in that 10% and you don't fire your coach and you don't change anything and you don't make a trade, you don't shake things up, then people will look at you suspiciously. I think that we are one of the teams that has to make the playoffs. You know, we have to. And not be we were in the playoff race right till the last game last season. Like, being in the playoff race, every team is going to be in the playoff race unless they do terribly. And that's why I'm saying, like, if this road trip goes really bad, we might be out of the playoff race way too early in the season. And again, we do not want to kill the great momentum that this team has. We are the best fans in the league. We're, like, the best, you know, at, like, coming to our games, supporting our team, being loud. The environment at Charge games are unmatched. They're unrivaled in this league. Like, and the other thing is, if we were to win, then we would be to the PWHL what the Yankees are, what the Cowboys are, what the Leafs or Habs are. You know, the team that is hated because their fans are loud, they're everywhere, and in the early beginnings of the season, of the league, they won a whole bunch. If we can be that team, that'd be great for the city. That'd be great for the team. Look, I hate the Leafs. I hate the Habs. I'm a Sens fan. But I'm not going to deny that they don't have some of the most passionate fan bases out there. I'm a Niners fan. I hate the Cowboys. And the Niners are one of those fan bases. They got fans everywhere. Because look, I'm in Ottawa and I cheer for them. They got fans everywhere. And they're loud and they're vocal. And they can say, oh yeah, and we won a whole bunch. At the same time, you look at other teams that have been around forever, but won zilch. How come there are more Niners and Cowboys fans than Cardinals fans? Cardinals have been around longer. What about the Sabres? How come the Sabres aren't sweepingly big? I know they weren't original 6, but they came in pretty early. You see what I'm getting at? If we lose early, and we lose a lot early, we will be a passionate fan base in Ottawa. And we will be a passionate fan base in Ottawa. I think that this team has the capacity to be that international team. Where, like, no matter where you go in the world, if they watch the PWHL, you will find Charge fans. Like, you could go to California and there will be Charge fans. This team can be that. We can be, first off, we're an original 6 team, but if we out the gate shoot ourselves in the foot, put ourselves 3 years behind, 2 to 3 years behind everybody else, then what? Then people getting into the league now will not choose the Charge. They'll back the Frost, or the Sirens, or the Fleet, or the Scepters, or the Victoire. And they'll look at the Charge and they'll be like, I want to like them. I do. Their fans are great. They are. But they couldn't win a 1-goal game. They can't win an overtime game. They can't make the playoffs. And I'm not saying we're there yet, but it is worrying that we are 3 games into the season, or 4 games into the season, with 3 losses, all 3 by 1 goal. Because I've seen this story before, and I did not like how it ended. And now we've got this super long road trip, which could make or break our season. And again, I think we just need to be in the fight coming out of the road trip. If we are within 3, not even in a playoff spot, within 3 of a playoff spot, 1 win away from a playoff spot, if that is where we sit out of the road trip, I'll say, you know what? Okay, we got the hard part. That's over. That's gone. Now we got a good chunk of our away games out of the way. And now we got a bunch of home games with the home crowd, the energy of the Ottawa Charge fans. Let's get some wins. Let's leapfrog some teams. But if we come back down 6, 9, 12 points out of the playoffs, that is going to be a very big mountain to scale. And I'm not sure that we will. And again, the reason why I'm panicking is I've seen this story before. Maschmeyer played great. In my opinion, she played pretty good. So yeah, it was a fast start to the game. It was back and forth. And here's a big one. On multiple occasions, especially at that start in the first period where we were waiting for a team to score, we can't clean up the rebound. We are not good at it, by the way. We're not a good team at cleaning up the rebound, of getting an ugly goal. We don't get ugly goals. We don't. We need ugly goals. Ugly goals win games. We didn't get that. We give a few breakaways to Boston. Maschmeyer, again, was great. We struggle with rebounds in front of the net. It's an even first period. And I'm thinking, there's been so many 1-goal games. This is the type of game that'll tell you who we're going to be this season. Big shots, big saves. Early in the period, Jamie Lee Rattray. It was a beautiful deke, by the way. It was an elite goal, like one of the best. 1-0. Shocker. It was off a turnover in our own end. Again, same story. We give up a breakaway immediately. I get saved. Maschmeyer, thank you. But after that first goal, it's all Boston. They've overtaken us. And then we get a weird bounce. We tie it up 1-1. Despite Rattray getting another chance with another breakaway, Maschmeyer keeps it a 1-goal game. We get a weird bounce. We score. Okay. We don't get goals like that typically. I'm thinking maybe this team is different. Maybe this is different. And what do? Boston cleans up a rebound, 2-1. We do get it back, but we don't score on the power play at all, by the way. We give up another turnover in the third period in our end, which goes right in front of the net. We turn it over behind our net, and it goes right in front, past the slot, goal, game over, 3-2. You see what I mean, where I've seen this story before? Turnovers in our own end, not cleaning up the rebound, and Maschmeyer making huge saves. So it's hard to say that we got goalied because our goalie was doing the same. They were doing the same. You gotta find a way to win these games. I love this team, by the way. I know I probably sound a little negative right now. I love this team. I believe in this team. If you think that I don't love my team, look behind me. Sens and there's some red black stuff. They're like, I've sat through just awful on-field, on-ice play because I love those teams. And I love this team too, honestly. I know we're only in season 2, but like I am just as big a Charge fan as I am a Sens and Red Blacks fan. I love this team. And I see what they're capable of. It's not like we're a team where I'm like, we're going to have to rebuild for X amount. This team could be great. That's why I'm just like, get it Done. Not in panic mode yet, but gotta win these 1-goal games. And as always, go Ottawa, go.